Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Simply Done Concierge. We're in the middle of February now. How you doing with your to-do list for the new year? You made it through the holidays probably, made it through Valentine's Day, but we got spring coming up. All kinds of things to be thinking about doing. So if you will go to simplydoneconcierge.com, there's a little box there to fill out what we can help you with, and let Mary and her team know that, and they will help you be in two places at once. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a local small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, and the surrounding towns. Each week, 32 chapters and over 600 members get together, and our goal is to help each other grow our business. And our local small business success story this week is me, and I need help reading calendars because I thought for sure today was February 26th. I have no idea why, but I have a guest lined up, and I thought that was today. And so on short notice, reached out to a few people. They could not make it, but we're going to talk about a few things, business and personal, this week, and see if we can pass on some
And you
nuggets.
just gained another week.
I did, yeah. So I got guests booked now for the next 3 weeks. The next three of the next 5 weeks. So, anyways, Amnon keeps telling me to have a backup person, and I haven't done that yet. So eventually, maybe one day, everybody will see me do that. So, we talked about this over the last couple weeks. Amnon and I are part of a brand new BNI chapter. It's called a core group until we launch. We need 20 members. We're at 11. We've got good lines on one, maybe two more right now. And we've got some more people coming to visit tomorrow. We meet at the Farm Bureau office at 5211 Western Boulevard on Tuesday mornings at 8:15. So if you're in the area, you want to come be entertained and say hi, we'd love to have you. Or if you know somebody trying to grow a business, start a business, grow a business, grow their book of business, and they know they need to meet people, we'd love to have them. But it's interesting starting things, no matter what kind of club or group. You're trying to figure out, all right, who's going to like this? Who's going to want to be part of this? What will it do for them? Because no matter what we do, we need to see value. And I do a lot of BNI chapter training. And the first place I go, the first example I give is Amazon. There's the value. I hit pay, and the next morning it shows up on my front doorstep. It's interesting to watch generations deal with shopping because, well, even my wife and I are different. I love Walmart. No surprise to people that know me. I love Walmart. I do our food shopping. I usually go Sunday morning. I'm one of those old people there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I get my shopping done. I like Walmart because there's good people watching down there. I enjoy it. My wife shops on Amazon, and it's delivered to the doorstep. And we have two sons, and they and their wives all do grocery shopping online, which is interesting. But again, it's value. So what value do you place in where you go, what you do, what you buy? That's the first thing as a business owner or a business professional. What value do I bring to the table? So I'm a carpet cleaner now. Partner and I bought TNT Carpet Cleaning. It's been in the Triangle for 25 years. Tom and Kimberly, wonderful co-owners, decided to retire, which is what you do when you start your own business. You build it to a point and you retire. And so the value we have is, it's going to be easier than if you went to, probably going to be cheaper in the long run too, if you went to Home Depot. So factor in the time it takes when you leave your house to drive to Home Depot or Lowe's, buy a carpet cleaning machine, or rent one, get the right chemicals, and somebody who's explaining this to you may or may not be certified in that area. And then you drive home, you clean your own carpet. Hopefully it's done almost as good. Then you have to drive back to Home Depot or Lowe's, return everything, and then come home. Okay? So you figure if you've got 3 bedrooms for us to clean, we're $35 a bedroom. That's $105. Okay, what's your time worth? What's the value? So that's the first thing we do is we take it off your list. Second thing is your carpet's going to look really good. So next time you entertain, your friends are going to go, wow, Amnon, this carpet looks beautiful, right? So what's the value you bring to your customers? So each week to get our chapter to our group to the point of launching at 20 members, we have to invite people. And it's been interesting watching the people in our group talk about who they're going to invite. And I always tell people, start with the folks you know and tell them what you're up to. Whether you're starting a church group, a running club, a BNI group, does not matter what you're starting. Start with the people that can be your cheerleaders and want to see you succeed and want to help you. They may not want to join, that's fine. But you ask them. I was at a BNI meeting in Wake Forest the other day, and I talked to one of the insurance guys there, and I said, I know you don't have an employee, but I need somebody you know real well in the insurance world that is just like you, because that's what I want in my chapter. So all I did was I went to somebody I know, somebody I've seen in BNI, somebody I like, we get along real well, and I said, send me somebody like you. And you ask enough people. So in theory, I've got a commercial realtor coming tomorrow. I mean, a commercial insurance person. I've got a painter. I've got a property manager. Who's the other one? Oh, and a life insurance person. At least in the next 2 weeks, hopefully those 4 people will show up. And all I did was ask friends, people I know. Who do you know like you, or that somebody that works for you that wants to start? So when you're looking to start a group or a club or anything like that, just always start with the people you know, because they're going to want you to succeed. Instead of if you and I met Thursday at a networking event and I invite you to a meeting Tuesday morning, you're an easy no. You're like, Mike, boy, I'd like to, but man, 8:15 is kind of tough for me in the morning. We have no connection, and you're an easy no, and I'm not going to feel bad because, well, we just met the other day. I took a shot. And then I can brag to my group, well, I invited Susie, and we met, and she'd be really good, but she couldn't make it today. And who knows if Susie and I will ever talk again, right? But I invite Amnon, and I can tell him more, and he'll believe me more when I tell him. Now I'm going to tell him the 4 people I'm going to introduce him to, because I'm going straight to his pocketbook. That's what I want. I want him to make a business decision to go, you know what, Mike, send me the address. I think there's some people I want to meet. And all I want to do is get them in the room, right? So start with the folks you know when you're starting any kind of group is what I've learned, instead of sending 42 emails to 42 people you know at different levels, and 3 of them respond, and the rest of them just ghost you. So they're probably not coming anyway. So it's fun to watch that process. It's actually not bad. It gives you a chance to. I reached out to a painter, Mark Armstrong with Wow One Day Painting, who was on the show however long ago it was, about a year ago. No, this was was Mark in studio? Anyways, and I just reached out. He owns a Wow One Day Painting franchise. Good dude. I know he's not going to join, but I said, hey, do you know a painter? And he goes, I don't really come across many of them, but when I do, I'll let you know. Called a photographer friend of mine, Anthony Torres. He's already sent us a photographer. Again, start with the people you know. When you're trying to get something going, start with the people you know that will look out for your best interest.
And just like you said, you're not really inviting people just to join.
No.
You want them to be there to see what it is,
Hmm?
and hopefully, even if they're not in business,
Yeah.
they go back home and they know about a handyman, they
Yep.
know about a realtor, they
Yep.
know, and these are people that if you are associating with,
Mm.
they say, yes, I'm
Yeah.
not,
Yeah. So let's go back to me inviting Amnon. If his first answer was, Mike, I'm already in enough groups, I don't need another one, I would say, fine. I don't even want you to join, but you've been telling me for months now, these are the 2 people you've been looking. These are 2 types of people you've been looking to meet. I got them in one room. They'll be there tomorrow morning at 8:15. Here's the address. And he's like, oh, okay.
right.
But I acknowledged up front what he already told me was he's not joining another group, and I'm going to prove him wrong. I'm never going to tell him he's going to join. I'm not even going to ask him. I'm going to get him in the room, and he'll make his own mind up. I've been at BNI long enough to know that generally what's supposed to happen does. If he gets in the room and he gets a good vibe from the room, he's welcomed, he meets some people, and then after the meeting, somebody follows up with him, said, "Hey, Amnon, hope you had a good time at the meeting. Would love to set up a one-to-one with you, grab a cup of coffee, just see how we can help each other." Now at least he's thinking about it, and that's all we want him to do. Instead of like, oh, a meeting. Big difference between, oh, Mike, I don't have time for another meeting versus, oh, I met some really good people there. I had a good time.
Hmm.
That's all I want him to do is just start thinking about it. Because right now he's not. Right now, a good friend of his is telling him, "You're going to be up early tomorrow morning to come to my meeting." And that's all he's hearing. But he walks in the room, he meets the right people, and now he's thinking about it. That's all we want them to do. They'll figure it out. But I know I needed to give him more information because I can tell him how good it is. That's not going to get him there, right? I need to tell him who's going to be there. That's what'll get him there, and then he'll figure everything else out. So,
And there's no hard selling. It's
no,
not such thing as,
nope,
if you join today,
yeah.
it's
Hey,
this.
20% off.
No,
We'll
there
throw in
is
free set of
no.
Ginzu
This is not
knives.
what it's right.
Or what were the other? What were the? Oh, all those late night infomercials, right? It was the Ginzu
Yeah,
knives and the
yeah.
juicer. There's all kinds of yeah. The guy that I think he still does it. The Flex Seal. He paints the
Uh-huh.
bottom of a
Yep.
boat with a hole in it. So,
Yeah, but I mean, many. I mean, when you get invited to all kind of meetings
yeah,
that will help you with this, will
yeah,
help you with that, and you sit there, and then they approach you, and well, if you do it today, if you decide
yeah,
to,
yeah,
then it's going to be that much. But if you're going to wait, I
yeah,
don't know what's that. No, I
yeah.
I walk out.
And I'm with you. And when people, I don't know if you guys have ever been sitting at home on a Saturday or Sunday morning and or Sunday, either day, any point of the day, and nobody's coming over and there's a knock on your front door. It's like, all right, here we go. And I'm with you. I buy nothing on the front porch. Absolutely nothing. I don't care if it was a Tesla for $50. I'm not buying anything at my front door. You can leave me stuff, but I'm not buying anything right there. So back to Amnon's point, there's no sale. The room will sell itself. If you have an informational meeting for your book club, for your gardening club, for your whatever club or group, the room will sell itself. And if the room doesn't sell anybody, then you got to check and see who's in the room. But if you're in there with quality people who want to meet others and help and do whatever, the room will sell itself. So the goal is just to get the right people in the room to begin with, and then let the room do the rest of it. It will. Um, so another interesting thing happened last week in a bad way. A friend of mine. I moved here in 1974. Moved away for a while, but I grew up in Fairfax Hills. So if you're from the Triangle area, it's right off Falls and Noose by Millbrook Road. And a good friend of mine's wife died suddenly. And this one hit me hard because it's the first time that a really good friend has lost a spouse. And I'm 62. I'll be 63 in May. So I know all this stuff's going to happen. I get that. But this was the first one that hit home hard. And it got me to thinking about a lot of things with my family and am I talking to people that I should be talking to, things like that, which I'm going to work on. But the thing that really got it was at a couple of the services for my friend's wife. I got to see some old friends, and the church service for the funeral was as it should be. But there was a celebration later that evening, and that's when some more smiles were there and stories were there. And it just got me to thinking, growing up around here. And if you're listening or watching and you want to send Amnon a note about growing up and some of the fun things you did. So I've got a couple of stories on that. So I grew up in Fairfax Hills. It was not a big neighborhood. Um, but there was three of everything. 3 10-year-olds, three that wanted to swim, 3 10-year-olds who wanted to play tennis, 3 10-year-olds that wanted to do neither, 4 14-year-olds that, just three of everything. You were never bored. We had a pool, 2 tennis courts, a ping pong table, a card table, and a foursquare uh, area in the corner of the pool, and it's a tiny pool. But we would we moved there in 74. I moved away in 79. And we left the house every day. Times were different, so I'm not going to do the old guy and the lawn story, but it was just different. We would leave the house at, I don't know, 9 o'clock. We'd go up to the pool for swim practice or tennis practice or both, come home, eat some lunch, and we'd go back to the pool. And usually about 3 o'clock, if anybody, the younger folks listening and watching, have ever seen a payphone,
A real.
a real payphone, yeah, it was a dime back then. So we would ask anybody there for a dime, and we'd call home, and it would ring once, and we'd hang up. And that was my mom's. That was all the moms and the parents' cue to call back to the pool. One ringer. So we'd call home about 2:30, 3 o'clock. One ringer would ring once. We'd hang up, give the person the dime back, and my mom would call. And one of us, whichever, my sister, my brother, myself, whoever called, would answer Fairfax Hill Swim Pool. And my mom would say, I want to speak to one of the Manning kids. Hey, Mom, it's me. What time's dinner? And she would say 6 o'clock. Say, okay, see you then. Bye. And that was the extent of conversation with our parents. And that's how we communicated. That's how we knew when to be home. And we would finish playing the rest of the day. We would go home for dinner, and we would likely go back to the pool. We had a basketball court with some lights, but we would swim till they closed the pool. Then we'd stay and play cards. Wicked games of spades and hearts. I mean, cutthroat. Um, yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. But just all kinds of things going on there. And ices, I guess they're called ice pops, or the frozen things yeah, yeah. And those were 5 cents, and I didn't eat many of those, but a lot of the people did. But just got me thinking back to my friend who has two sisters, and they were younger than him, but just playing tennis with the families. And so the people that got together at Celebration on Friday night, we started sharing some of those stories about, hey, do you remember when? And it's interesting. I was in line, and some guy came up to me and said, hey, Mike, and he gave me his name. And I remember the name, would not have placed him. And why he remembered me, I do not know. I don't think I've changed. Facially, I'm older. I have gray hair, obviously. And the last time he and I saw each other, I was maybe 18, maybe 17. But it was fun. Yeah. So that got me to thinking, too. It's like, all right, it's been that long since I've seen him. What did I look like? And you've seen pictures. If you're roughly mine or Amnon's age, you've seen these pictures back from the late 60s or early 70s, right? And I had, for those of you that are Brady Bunch fans, I had the Greg Brady afro. It was black and it was curly, and it went nowhere but out. It's like a chia pet thing, right? You put water in it, just grows that way. It never grew long, it never grew straight up, it just grew out. And I played a lot of tennis, and I would have a visor on and just hair out the side, and just it never looked good. Like I said, it never went down. My brother had that long, thin hair, so when he wanted to in the summertime, he could let it grow a little bit. But just thinking back to those pictures, like, God, I hope people forgot what that looked like. But it's fun seeing some of those pictures, and you try to go through them now. It's like, okay, I think that's Jim. No, wait, is that Jim, or is this one Jim over here? And you start because the people you knew real well, that you hung out with, you knew who they were, and then you started playing that game. No, that's Jenny. No, that's not Jenny. This one's Jenny. So it was a really crappy time to be there because he lost his wife. It was a great time to be there because he could see the love from the neighborhood and all his different communities. And I met his daughters, who tennis players as well. My friend and his wife were both tennis players, as were my friend's parents. And so we started talking about tennis and who got what skills from whoever, and just started laughing, telling tennis stories and growing up. It just love those family conversations, especially about growing up and laughing. And, the older you get, I think we remember most of the stories, half of them correctly.
We try to.
Or one of your siblings says, hey, do you remember when we went on that trip? No.
Mm,
And then I'll bring up something, no. It's like, okay. So, we all remember different things. But I went to Millbrook Junior High School, which is now Millbrook Elementary School, right off Millbrook, across from, was it Quail Ridge Apartments right there, if you know where Millbrook and Falls meet. And my friend Trip Alden and I, we would walk to school. It was maybe a mile if you had to run it, maybe. But we're walking on the sidewalk, Falls of the News, 7:15 in the morning, no cares in the world. Nobody was going to pull in front of us and throw us in the car or anything like that, which was nice. So our parents could say, all right, we'll see you after school. And we just kind of walk. And, that's what we did growing up, which was a lot of fun. So it was, like I said, it was, it was for him to lose his wife that quick and that sudden. It was tough to be there, but we were there for each other, which was nice and got us telling stories and laughing about things. And we would have my friend Peter and I we played a lot of tennis together, and we had one of the neighbors come out of the pool, make the left up into the cul-de-sac, and Mrs. Tyson up there would always make sun tea. She'd have a pitcher of tea, water, with about 8 or 10 tea bags, and she'd put it on the front porch early in the morning because the sun hit the front of her house. And we'd finish swim practice, tennis practice, whatever there, and we'd walk up there for some sweet tea. I mean, it just I could not have grown up in a better neighborhood.
mhm.
And we had moved. So, and again, for those of you that moved a lot, we moved. My dad was a salesman, sold golf equipment and golf wear, and we always accused him of being on the run from, as we got older and we could understand humor better. We're like, who are we running from this time? Because we're first and second grade in Memphis, Tennessee, third and fourth in Columbia, fifth and sixth in Richmond, Virginia, seventh through 12th in Raleigh. And so we moved here and we've been living here. And my mom looked at my dad, said, I'm not moving again. So got to put the pressure on my dad to not move us again. So she liked it here. All three of us enjoyed it here because, like I said, my sister hung out with her friends. And as I got older, I learned to appreciate my sister's friends. Oh, so I'm wanting to hang around with her friends, right? I'm 15, 16, 17 years old. Want to hang around with her friends. She goes, you're leaving now. I'm like, oh, I don't want to. They like me. They think I'm cute, right? And then because my sister and I were 2 years apart. My brother and I are a year and a half apart. I'm the middle child, which is clearly the best child. I mean, it shows. And so my brother wanted to hang out with my friends, and that was not happening. My sister was way more patient with me than I was with my brother, and I would shove him away and out of houses. Like, no, you're not hanging out with my friends. So, but still to this day, we talk and we're good friends, and I love him to death. But he put up with a lot of stuff. I was not the best big brother. Siblings for you?
See,
Siblings? You have brothers and sisters?
I had I
Yeah.
had a brother, yeah,
Older or younger?
younger.
Were you a good big brother?
I was a very good big brother.
No.
I was a very good big brother. Yeah, but again, growing back then, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like you're saying, and I didn't grow up here.
Oh, we grew up in different worlds.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in Jerusalem,
Yeah.
and it was, I mean, kids 8, 9 years old could go,
Yeah.
they even go walk out, go
Yeah.
downtown, walk back. I mean,
Yeah.
but I never had to take care of my brother because there was never any kind of problem.
Yeah. Yeah. What age difference?
3 years.
Okay. Yeah. We would, so I remember, I think this was in Raleigh. I don't think it was in Richmond. I think it was in Raleigh. We got our first video game called Pong.
Mhm.
And it's basically two paddles going up and down. That's all they could do is go up and down. There's a ball like ping pong. The ball would just go back and forth. And we thought we were rich. When we got a video game, we thought we were rich. And this was probably the low end game. I have no idea what my dad paid for it. One day he showed up with it and we played Pong and for a while it was fun, but after a while, so but dad got mad with us because a few times we left it on and it just burned into the TV screen so you
Oh
could
yeah,
see the
yeah.
Oh,
Back
he was
then,
furious. But we didn't. There was no reason to stay in the house other than setting up Hot Wheel tracks. We'd run them from the top of the TV, run them downhill, flat, up a hill, see if they could go through the loop and then how far they'd shoot down the hall, just to get up a head of steam and just literally see how far they could go and try not to hit the wall because we would get in trouble from mom if they hit the wall. Because if you've ever run a Hot Wheel car into a wall, it makes a dent,
Yep.
and mom's not happy with that. So we did not want mom to be mad at us. But that's if we stayed inside, that's what we did. But we all went outside, so we would play all kinds of games: kickball, two-hand touch football, wiffle ball. And with wiffle ball, we took a wiffle ball, a bat, and a roll of masking tape because we knew at some time we would break the wiffle ball, and we'd play so much, we would break the wiffle ball in half. We would tape it and continue the game, and it would break again, and we would tape it, and we would continue the game, and it would break it, and we'd tape it and continue the game. And I mean, that thing had 2/3 of a roll of masking tape on it by the time we were done. You're basically hitting tape, not a ball anymore. But that's what we did till 10 o'clock. And during the summertime, we knew when the street lights came on, time to come home. And, so it was fun to relive a lot of those stories growing up. But we just, you had to be creative. And so kids today, I don't want to go outside. Well, that's where half the fun is. That's where you're making it games up, and we'd play we'd play stickball or baseball in the street, and like this mailbox was first base, the manhole cover was second base, this other car or mailbox was, and you just started playing, right? You make it up. Same thing with two-hand touch football. We couldn't afford flags, so we played two-hand touch, which brought out many arguments. Oh, you didn't hit me with the second hand? Yeah, I did. And it was okay. You wouldn't make the driveway the end zone because if you fell, it would hurt. So we'd say, okay, that bush right there at the end, that's the end zone. And that tree right there, that's the other end zone. And the game started. But that was the extent of those are only rules we knew. But that's how creative you got. So it was a lot of fun growing up in Fairfax. Yeah, and the people that no, you didn't touch me. It's like, yeah, we did. And so the next time we touched him a little harder. Till he got the point of, okay, we can keep touching harder if you want. And we can start. I can put one hand on your back and the other hand in your ribs if you want. But I touched you.
And when was the last time you thought about all these things before you met at his
Oh,
house?
it's been a few years. Yeah.
You don't think about these.
No, and sometimes when we're with well, I still call them kids, our boys who are grown and married and parents now, but they're still the kids, still the boys. As their kids are starting to get a little bit older, especially Oliver, who will be 6 in July, we're starting to have some of those kindergarten, first grade stories, going to school, riding the school bus, which I think I rode the school bus a few times, but not that much because Tripp and I would walk to junior high school. And then here's the beauty of having an older sibling, and I think you probably fell into this too. My mom said my sister could drive the car to school, but she had to take her brother with her, and that just made her mad because she had to take me in the car with her friends.
No cars.
How far was your school from your house?
Maybe less than half a mile.
Yeah, yeah. I was happy walking. I was happy walking to school, to junior high school, but because that was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade back then. High school was only 10 through 12 here, and now it's 9 through 12, which was another interesting thing. I don't know. And for those of you from the Triangle area, back in 1974, the only skyline was the circular Holiday Inn Hotel, which is about ready to be torn down. But that was the only thing in the skyline when we moved here. Everything else, it's funny to look at pictures, and obviously 540 wasn't here. And we would come back and visit as the boys were getting older. Before they even got to college, we'd come back and visit, and we'd be driving around. And they got tired of hearing that, yeah, Dad, we know this wasn't here when you're born. We've heard all the old stories. But they're still landmarks. Capitol Boulevard was mini city before all that stuff was built. It was just soccer fields, just tons of soccer fields back there called mini city. And that's what, so, but it's good to reminisce about that because, you're younger. Life was a whole lot easier. You just worried about,
simpler.
Yeah. Yeah. What's for dinner? I think our concern, because I had a bike. which I thought was fine. I didn't know any different. It was a 10-speed. It was nice. It got me everywhere I needed to go. What more did I need? I had 2 tennis rackets 'cause I played tennis, and I had a swimsuit. I swam. I didn't go fast, but I swam. That was, I didn't know anything else. We never went on vacation, maybe 2 or 3 times. We went to Cleveland twice, see my dad's parents. He grew up there, and, so tell me if your folks have done this before. So my dad was a traveling salesman. So the last thing he wanted to do was come home on a Friday and get in a car and drive somewhere Saturday and Sunday, right? So my mom, as we got older, she said, "Hey, Jack, I want to take the kids to Disney in Orlando." And my dad said, "I'm not going." And I think he believed mom wouldn't go either. And mom loaded us up in the car. We drove all the way to Disney. So it was my mom, the older she got, was she just, yeah, she came into her own. She was real quiet when they got married. And
Nice.
yeah, she went, it was a boy meets girl in college. They met at Florida State. They get married. Girl drops out of college, has a baby. Boy stays in college, gets his degree, and then they move somewhere else, right? So she had a year, I think a year and a half of college at Florida State. And then we moved to Raleigh in 74. I think in 77, as we're getting older, because my brother would have been 14 by then, she went back to school and got her undergraduate, her master's, and her doctorate. So, but those were, yeah, we didn't go anywhere. I mean, like I said, I had a bike, 2 tennis rackets, and a swimsuit, and I thought I was living in heaven. I go up there and see all the people I knew, all the friends, and we still get together occasionally. Excuse me, track each other on Facebook, but every now and then somebody will post a picture. Who do you know in this swim picture? It'd be the swim team picture of the year, and you're like, oh man. But I was a dead giveaway because my hair was, if it was dry, it was just a dead giveaway who I
Now,
was.
don't
So.
tell me Speedo.
Oh yeah. Well, that's back when so I never had a 6-pack. So here's the politically incorrect place where I had to shop for clothes back in the day. I shopped in the husky section because
Okay.
I never had a 6-pack, but I had killer thighs. I got my dad's legs, calves and thighs, and I had them, and they looked good, but jeans didn't fit. And so I had to go to the husky section to find a pair that did. And so, yeah, I always thought it was normal to shop in the husky section. It never bothered me. It's like
No.
that's where I always shop, so I didn't think there's anything different. But the older I got, then we started laughing about that. But yeah, I don't think they have the husky section anymore for boys. I think somebody probably was bothered by that. I don't know why, but everybody does what they do anyway. So, yeah. So if we look at these old pictures, if the hair wasn't wet, which normally was for the swim team pictures, they get us right out of the pool and take a picture after a meet. You could kind of, some people would have their glasses on because it's always hard seeing somebody who you always see with glasses on, and all of a sudden they don't have them on, and you're looking at like 30 years later. Isn't that? I don't know. They don't have their glasses on, or their hair's not, done right, or because mine wet looked awful, but it wasn't here wet. It was here wet and just looked yucky. So when it was dry, I was very noticeable, but not in a good way, but very noticeable because there. Um, but one of my friend's sisters, one of his 2 sisters, is considerably younger than him. And at our swim meets at Fairfax, they had a 6 and under division, and our pool was 25 yards. And so the 6 and unders would swim half a length. So they'd put the rope down at the 12-yard mark, and they would ask for older kids like us to stand in a lane and catch a 6-year-old. I would catch my friend's sister. She was just really cute, and I just, grew up good friends with her family, just ended up in her lane a lot for some reason. And so I met her daughter. See, their mom passed about 7 or 8 years ago, and I saw my friend's sister there, and she introduced me to her daughter. So we're chatting for a minute. Her daughter, pretty good sense of humor. I said, "You want to hear my best story about your mom?" She goes, "Oh, yeah." So I said, "Let me tell you how cute your mom was when she was 5 and 6 years old." And I explained that I would catch her in the, and she was just, she was, stop with that. And her daughter was just dying laughing. But that's what we did. The older kids jumped in, they caught the younger kids, and they
Yeah.
swam, and then the 7/8s came, and they swam, and it went all the way up to 15, 18, and so we just swam North Brook, North Hills, North Ridge, Wildwood. I don't think we swam against McGregor Downs. We didn't go into Cary too much. We played tennis against Kildare. And by the way, the drive from Raleigh to Cary back then, mentally, we may as well have been driving to Greensboro. It's amazing now people live way on the other side of Cary and come to downtown Raleigh to work. Back then, oh, I got to go to Cary. And gas was 35 cents. And I remember the oil embargo.
Hmm.
And there were I mean, we're talking about a quarter mile of lines worth of lines at the gas station, and but it wasn't difficult. You had to plan it out right, like with anything else. Get in line early, and but yeah, I think it was 30. Was it
When I
35 cents?
when I came, and this is the summer of '73,
Okay,
gas was 29
yeah, okay,
cents,
good. Then I'm remembering it right.
and I lived in New York. It was cheaper here when I drove down here. Wow,
Yeah.
it's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
cheaper down here.
Yep.
So it was always like when you go back, you said, "Okay, I'm going to fill it up."
Yep.
But of course, by the time you get there, it's gone, and you have to fill up
Oh
again.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was, yeah, it's ridiculous what
Okay.
it was.
And I had a friend of mine. Her dad owned a gas station, and she would always drove one of those. I'm not a car guy, but I've always loved the Mustangs. I
Mhm.
think it's the coolest looking car ever. And she drove a whatever 71, 72, 73 Mustang. It was, it wasn't the sports Mustang, but still a cool looking car. And she would pop into her dad's gas station and buy $1 worth of gas, not fill up, just $1 worth because that was almost 3 gallons. And back then,
It
you could
yeah.
drive a long way. But plus, there wasn't many places to drive.
Mhm.
And she just pull in. They're like, you can fill up your car. She goes, I just need $1. That'll last me for pretty much the whole week. So. And I was telling somebody the other day that the prom dates, because everybody usually went to dinner before the prom date, and we spent our money. We were big time in it when we went to the Con Key restaurant at
Oh,
Crabtree
yeah.
Mall. That was the spot for dinner for the prom was Con Key. It was hysterical. You look at it now and could have never afforded the Angus Barn, which is why I never went there. But the Con Key, and so about 4 couples would get together and we'd go there. But we were big time at the Con Key. But that it context is fun because that's all we knew. We didn't need to go to these places or those places. We just knew that, hey, we don't go there. We don't go to eat there very often. It's in the mall, so it must be good. But again, context on everything. When you ask somebody, why'd you do that? Well, put it in the context like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. You know, but North Hills was an indoor mall.
Mhm.
It's an outdoor mall now, but it was an indoor mall. And if you know where the Panera and the Starbucks are in that building across the street, that Whitaker Mill there, that was our dollar movie theater way back when. We'd drive up there and watch dollar movies and have fun. But yeah, North Hills was an indoor mall. So we had that in Crabtree and go there for Christmas. They're both lit up. And I can't remember tell you the last time I was in a mall now.
Yeah, I know.
I've
Forget
not
it.
been in Crabtree in a long time. I did a couple times with my mom. She would go walking in the mornings. She was one of those. She was part of that crowd. Go walking in the mall. They knew all the old folks. They weren't bothering anybody, and they'd open the door and let them walk, and they weren't causing any trouble. But man, it's been a long time since I've been in there. But I don't know what I'd buy, and I don't know what I could afford in a mall. Obviously, I don't clothes shop. I mean, see what I'm wearing. I have no style, nor do I care to have any. But they don't see because we would go to Sam Goody's, the record store,
Mhm.
and just flip through the albums. Oh yeah, yeah. And then Spencer's, the
Mhm.
store there, we'd go in the back to see what uh, posters they had. It would show scantily clad women because we were 16 years old, right? So we're looking for the Daisy Dukes from Dukes of Hazzard of the world and some of these rock, rock these bands with the, stuff like that. It's really funny to listen to it now. But again, context. But yeah, Sam Goody's was a hot spot for kids
And
my age.
very good store to go
Yeah.
into. Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, it was, but it's funny thing about
Crabtree
kinda
was
all that.
great.
What?
Crabtree was
Oh, yeah,
great.
man. Yeah, we'd go there at
Yep.
least. It felt like 3 or 4 times a month that we'd go there for whatever reason. Just always down there. Anyways, folks, thanks for joining in on the stories. Hope you have some. And if you've had, if you have a friend or you've lost a loved one, share some stories because I still do that. My folks have been gone for a while. My dad is coming up on 11 years, and I'll drive by landmarks. Makes me think of him. I laugh. He came up in a story the other day. My sister and I were talking about something and just kind of having fun at Dad's expense at the funny joke at something he said or he would always say, but we got on that, but just, made us smile and laugh. So don't ever stop doing that. Thinking just, remember the good things about that. So next week we have guests. For the next month, we'll have guests. I love telling stories, but I know you guys like meeting other people and hearing their stories too. So we appreciate everything.
And tomorrow we have a meeting to give the address again.
Tomorrow, yes, 8:15 tomorrow morning, 5211 Western Boulevard. It is the Farm Bureau office.
Plenty of parking.
Plenty of parking. Come see us. Even if you don't want to join, you just want to meet some people. You want to see a BNI meeting? Absolutely. You'll meet somebody you like. You may or may not do business with them. You may or may not join, but you will have a good time from 8:15 to 10:30.
Guaranteed.
Promise you that. So if you do show up, come find me and Amnon. We'll be there. And if you followed the show for a while, you'll probably meet some people that have been on the show before. So come see us. We're there every Tuesday morning at 8:15. If you can't come tomorrow, come the next Tuesday. But you will be entertained, and you will meet somebody that you will like. We know that. So anyways, we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.